Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time for another edition of Tomii Healing and Wellness, the one show, maybe the only show that shows you an alternative path to living a healthier and happier life with a man who's been doing it for many people for years, Dr. Leiter Chen. Welcome, sir, to the show again. Get your mic up here so we can hear you there. There we go. So I am always amazed at the number of people I run into day to day who know nothing about Chinese medicine or traditional Chinese medicine or Indian Ayurvedic or all these other alternative practices that are out there, but are so open to the idea that there is energy flowing through your body and that maybe the body can help heal itself. Maybe not a broken leg. Maybe I go get a doctor to set that, or a lung transplant or something. But for these chronic conditions for which there doesn't seem to be any answer, my back hurts, my stomach hurts, I can't sleep, persistent pains, fibromyalgia, things that may or may not even exist, that they don't know what to say about it, but it just never goes away. And you have, through the years, found that traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM as they call it, works for all this, right? Or at least helps. We can't say work because it's not proven and all this other stuff here, but it's a 1,000-year-old practice outside of Western medicine that people have been using to treat chronic conditions. Talk about that a little bit, Dr. Chen here.
Yes, I founded the Tomii Healing and Wellness since 2010. Basically, it's because I have the diabetes type 2 when I was running my software company in China back to 1996. And end up getting the emergency room, stay in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I'm looking for the alternative solution for myself, diabetes. After 2 years, help myself use the acupressure and the diet, and I get rid of all the chemical pills. So up to more than 20 years, I never take any pills. My blood sugar is good and everything is healthy.
And that's what we're all looking for. We want to stay, we don't just want to live longer, we want to live better. We don't want to be like my parents who spent the last 10 years on 10 different medications, zoned out, zombie-like, and not having much quality of life. So yes, I want to feel better, I want to live longer, but I also want to improve the quality of that life. Bring your other guest in here today. You've got somebody that's been, like you, practicing in this field for a long time. And we're going to talk about the collaboration you guys are doing together here. But first, let's bring him in. I believe this is Dr. John Paul, and do I say Ling?
Yes, Liang.
Liang, okay. I never know how to pronounce half of these names, but give us your story, your background, where you came from, and how you came to this field.
Well, so I was actually born in Brazil.
Okay.
And my father is an acupuncturist, and that's how I grew up with it. And I started seeing all the benefits of acupuncture and herbal medicine. And I do have to admit, though, growing up, it's not the dream to follow your father's footsteps.
No, that's the truth, right? I'm going to do anything. That's great what you did, Dan. I'm going to blaze my own path here, right?
I did, yes. So I've always had a fascination with data and technology. I went to Cornell University and studied engineering, and did consulting for a year, and realized that that's not really something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when my father, who actually founded the American College of Acupuncture about 30 years ago, 1991.
This is in Houston, right down in
Houston.
Right.
Yeah. And said, you know what, why don't you come and just take one class and see if you like it. And if you enjoy it, just stick with it. If you don't enjoy it, go look for something else.
A Cornell graduate who had done consulting with data and engineering or something else is now going to go back and sit at the feet of his father here and learn an ancient practice called acupuncture, right?
Yes. I said, you know what, I'm not doing anything anyways. Why don't I just try it? And it fit like a glove.
Wow.
Unfortunately, not something that I wanted to admit, but yes, it fit like a glove. And, 23 years later.
So you've continued to run that institution, what's the name of it again? American College of what?
American College of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine.
All right, so you've been teaching this. How long did it take you to learn it? Is this something you learn in a semester, in a year, or is this a lifetime of learning? Talk about the path to becoming a traditional Chinese medicinal practitioner here.
It's a degree program, so it took about 4 years, year-round, almost 3,000 hours to learn it, and including the clinical training piece. So I graduated in 2001 and started at the bottom and worked my way up.
So what do you say to people? I hear this all the time. Well, it's kind of three separate statements. One, I'm not real thrilled with Western medicine. It's great for severe interventions, broken leg or heart attack or something like that. Great, nothing better. Let's go there and do this, a lung transplant or something. But for these persistent, consistent pains and problems and aches and conditions that so many people claim, diabetes, high blood pressure, chronic pains, mysterious aches and things that just never, I can't sleep, I itch all the time, just constant something wrong in our body. And it seems like Western medicine says, I don't know what that is, but I got a pill to cover it up, or maybe a procedure to try and intervene and cut something, chop something, do something. That's kind of my bag of tricks here. What is it why is Western medicine resistant to the idea of additional alternative things? Or is that changing?
It's definitely changing. I started in 2001 when I was actually working at the college and I was promoting the medicine, and definitely at the time, that's when NIH started doing a lot of research.
Mm-hmm. National Institute of Health, for those, yeah, right.
Yes, yeah, National Institutes of Health, and then in 2004, 2005 is when we partnered with Houston Methodist Hospital, which is a very reputable hospital in Houston.
Okay, yeah, right.
And we started engaging in research as well. Baylor College of Medicine, MD Anderson, Cancer Center, Houston Methodist. We did one for neuropathy recently, completed one with Houston Methodist Hospital.
And neuropathy is that another one of those chronic conditions. It's a pain problem, right? Just never seems to go away, your foot or something or whatever.
Yeah, in this case, it's actually numbness and tingling that's caused by chemotherapy and radiation.
Wow.
For breast cancer patients. And so since I would say probably 2005, there's been a lot more collaboration between Eastern and Western approaches. And you start seeing a lot of collaboration within the cancer arena, pain management arena, women's health. So we recently completed one for depression with University of Houston.
Wow. Okay.
Studies. So I would say that there's a lot more collaboration, a lot more integrative approaches, and I feel like the integrative approaches have been pretty effective, actually.
So I'm gonna stop you right there because we've had discussions about this in the past on this show. We're here at the University of California, Irvine's Applied Innovations, Beal Applied Innovation Center. It's a place they try and take technology and turn it into something here. So it's a meeting place, a crossroads between the campus and academia and research and VCs and other people trying to find that, use that technology and build a company or license it or do something with it here. And of course, Orange County is known for medical devices. That's one of our prioritizations here, and just like UCI. So either developing new drugs or developing medical devices. That's mostly what's in this three-story building here. And they have, in addition to a giant UCI medical center, they have a new integrative health, I guess you call it wellness, integrative health and wellness center, funded by Susan Samueli her husband's one of the co-founders of Broadcom, microchips. They're bazillionaires, and they funded a lot of other programs here at UCI and around the county here. And they created, I've never talked to her about it, but she's very committed to this idea of bringing East and West together. The same thing at UCLA. We talked to Dr. Kiki Win. Is that his name, Dr. Chen? I think that's
Kiki Win.
Yeah.
UCLA.
And he's on staff. He teaches at their school of medicine. I don't know what he teaches, but he's a regular MD, and he teaches there. And then he runs his integrative center where they're doing research and trying to combine the East and West. That seems to make so much sense, because Western medicine, as good as it's become, is really just pills and procedures, kind of. I mean, there's medication to maybe cover it up or deal with it or handle it. It's not a curative thing usually. Or, yes, we can go and sometimes intervene and hopefully remove this problem. Although that opens up its own concerns. They start operating my back or my neck or whatever, trying to find these things. I'm not sure that doesn't always just make it worse. And whereas in Chinese medicine, it's and all these other alternative approaches, it's much more about, as you guys say, balance, yin and yang. It's about when the body's out of balance, when it's out of sorts, that's when pain and problems erupt. And until you address the underlying causes, you can cover it up, but you're not going to eliminate it. Is that kind of, am I stating that correctly, Dr. Liang?
Yeah, I think when we start looking at the issue, the condition of an individual, sometimes it's more effective to go the Western medical route and then end in the Eastern medical route. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's more effective to go from the Eastern first and then end up in the Western. So sometimes we don't really know, when we see a patient, we don't really know if that individual is going to have the expected results that we picture in our minds when they come in.
Right.
And so sometimes unexpected things happen, and we find out, well, this is not working, and therefore there might be something more structural happening here, and you have to go see a physician to figure out, maybe do some exams, some testing, and figure things out.
Right.
And while on the other hand, we constantly also hear about patients going through the physicians, they can't find anything, all the tests come out normal, and that's when I think holistic approaches are.
And yet they can't sleep, right, Dr. Chen? I mean, you've got people who say, I can't sleep. I've got this persistent pain. It never goes away. You're telling me somebody comes in and been itching for 10 years and nobody, just driving them crazy. And nobody can explain it, and they just shrug and go, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? You see that stuff all the time at Tomii, right?
Yes, all the time. Like one of the clients, she's suffering from itch, cannot sleep for 30 years.
30 years, this poor woman's been plagued by
why this happened.
Maddening
from 55
itching.
to 84, yes.
Yeah.
Still pain, still itch, cannot sleep. So
or itching, or or pains, or other upset stomachs, and headaches and things, just the mysterious things that don't seem to go anywhere. And this is all based on, you can go research yourself. This idea in Chinese medicine is that there are meridians flowing through your body. There is energy flowing through these meridians, a little amount of energy. And then it comes down to, are there something blocking that? And as I understand it, both acupressure and acupuncture, it's trying to remove those blockages. Is that a correct way, either one of you? We're trying to put the body back in balance and have it flowing freely and eliminate the blockages that are, in your philosophy, causing the pain, causing the problems, or an indicator of the pain and the problems. Am I even close to this?
That's why we innovate the Tomii Meridian Energy Chi Analyzer system to once a minute found the blockage and the imbalance once a minute. This blockage and imbalance the underlying cause of chronic conditions.
And that's what I was trying to get at. So, Dr. Liang, what have you seen in all these years of practice? You're teaching acupuncture. First of all, is there a big difference between acupuncture and acupressure? Or is it just two different ways to approach the same blockages, the same problems?
No, in general, I think the location of the points are going to be the same, very similar. One is just the use of needles that penetrates the skin, and the other one is more pressure.
Right. And we all know about these acupressure points and stuff to relieve, nausea or other sorts of things in your head and your hands and stuff. So whether you're doing acupuncture with needles or acupressure, where it's more like a deep tissue massage kind of thing, the idea is to get rid of these blockages. But first, you got to find them. In traditional Chinese medicine, I've talked at length with people, it's more observational or anecdotal. You look at their tongue, or you look at other sorts of things. In addition to them telling you, hey, I got this problem and here it is, if you're trying to find a root cause, how do you root around? How do you figure out, without sort of an analyzer, how do you figure out what the underlying cause is? Is it trial and error? Is it observational? Is it them telling you? I'll let Dr. Liang answer this. You've been teaching this for years. How do you get to the root cause?
A lot of times, well, there's multiple ways that we do it. One way, of course, like you mentioned, is looking at the tongue, looking at the ear, feeling the pulse. One of the studies that one of the projects that we're doing with the University of St. Thomas is using artificial intelligence to look at the tongue and predict heart disease based on images of the tongue, just by simply looking at that. And preliminary results found around 72% so far accuracy in detecting heart disease just by looking at someone's tongue.
So and that's amazing, and that's clearly using technology and applying it to traditional healing practice here. Mm-hmm. I guess what I'm wondering is, why has Eastern medicine resisted the idea of trying to use more technology to find it, to predict it, to get to it? Or maybe they have, but it seems like East and West, that seems to be the big divider. West, big technology, big machines, lots of, CAT scans and all this other kind of stuff, and they've got all the things to analyze and look inside and figure it out. Chinese medicine still, 1,000+ years later, is still looking at your tongue or anecdotal evidence or tell me where it hurts or that kind of stuff. Has there been more work in this field, or is Dr. Chen kind of a pioneer in this thing? It seems like he's doing something I've never heard of before here.
Yeah, definitely. I think what he's doing is definitely at the forefront, where you're taking technology and incorporating into a very traditional type of practice.
Right.
And I think one of the reasons is because, especially traditional Chinese medicine, it's historically passed on from one generation to the next.
From father to son, like in your life here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And to be very honest, I think, one of the reasons why a lot of the terminologies in Chinese medicine haven't changed, and people start looking at, you're talking about fire, water,
yes,
elements of the earth, and you're still using that type of terminologies. A lot of the reasons why that it's still using that, it's because there was never this need or motivation to change, because it worked.
Exactly. And I hear that over and over again. Why do clinical studies on this? Why work with hospitals? It works. We don't have to go prove this to others, but Western medicine always wants proof. They want some data. They want some clinical trials and studies and stuff here. So I think that's part of this integrative approach of trying to see, can they convince Western medicine of its value and find a place for it in the physician's bag of tricks here, so that they got more than pills and procedures that they can look into, and particularly for these chronic conditions for which they currently have very little, if any, answers to a lot of these things. So I think that's a great thing. So how did you discover? I never had, when I discovered Dr. Chen and Tomii Healing, I was skeptical. You're going to wave a little wand around this, and suddenly you're going to pick up some little energy field, and then you've written some software that's going to tell you where the blockage is. Show me. And he'd say, what's wrong with me? No, you tell me. You're the wizard here. You just wave this little magic wand. He'd say, well, I think it hurts here. And I'd go, ow, yeah, that does hurt. I've never touched myself behind my ankle or behind my knee or something. What? He said, well, see, this is, start using all those traditional terms, fire and water, yin and yang, and up and down and all this stuff. But he'd say, these are the meridians. My instrument's telling me there's a problem here. Do you agree? Let me touch it. And the pain is usually an indication that there's a blockage or a problem or a knot or something there. Like, you can feel these knots in your body anyway. You're like a good masseuse can find these points where it's, I don't know, pinching the nerve or pinching off the blood or whatever it's doing that causes this stuff. So how did you feel? How did you find Dr. Chen, and how did you feel when you found a fellow scientist? You started off to be a scientist who was trying to take a scientific approach to a traditional methodology. How'd you find him, or how'd you feel? Yeah.
We always search, because Cassandra Wellness Group has always valued technology, and we always, do online searches for the latest things, for the best things, and we came across Tomii actually, not intentionally, but I think once we started knowing more about it, I come to realize actually that one of my colleagues actually uses Tomii
I think
as
that's,
well.
yeah, right.
And that's
I think it
how
was his wife that actually, his wife lived here in Orange County and had actually gone to Dr. Chen and then moved to Houston and married somebody else as one of your colleagues. And they kind of went, yeah, my wife's actually trying.
Greg Sparksman is assistant of John Paul Liang, and now is the internal president of the American College Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine.
And this American who works with him here was married to what, a Chinese woman that had been to your clinic, I guess, Dr. Chen, somehow when she lived here. I mean, it's like 5 degrees to 6 degrees of separation. You know, they always say if you go far enough, you can. Most of the world is connected through 6 degrees. I know him, and they know them, and they know somebody, and then pretty soon you're like, wow, okay, we've got a connection here, but it's a pretty distant one. All right, so however this connection is made, you found this thing. What did you think? Were you skeptical? Were you doubtful? Were you intrigued? Were you all that and above more?
No, I was not skeptical. I think throughout the years we always knew about energetics and blockages. It's just that we didn't necessarily had a way of proving it.
Right.
But you know there are for example some machines related to auricular ear acupuncture that does some of these things, and so we were never skeptical, and we were always a true believer in this type of technology. And I think one of the things that Tomii did very well, I think it's very efficient. It doesn't take very long.
No.
It takes just a few minutes. And
it's really just a little wand that's attached to a computer that's a very sensitive sensor, a handheld sensor, and it goes to all these different pressure points in your body. And then the real genius, the real work was in taking that data, whatever that sensor is telling you, and translating it into something actionable here, a chart that you can see in the different meridians what it's measuring. It's measuring this one isn't blocked, but this one is.
Right. And because we value research all the time, people want evidence-based, things.
In this country, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, this machine puts it all on the graph. It lets you see it. It lets you confirm it. Not to say I would say not to say that every single machine is 100%.
No, and it doesn't replace the patient telling, and you're still going to do anecdotal things. You're still going to look at, but it gives you another tool to get to the heart of it quicker.
Right. That's what we value, is how do we get to the bottom line a lot faster than everyone else.
Right.
Because these patients, they don't have the time. They financials are limited.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want our members don't want to waste any more money and time. We want to get to the bottom of it.
Right. And like so many, I guess that's my only complaint about all traditional practices is it's based on your experience and your teaching, and it's anecdotal and it's observational. It's all these things, which means it's a little bit of hit or miss. You got to kind of dial something. Anything that can help you dial that in quicker and faster and get to the root cause of it saves money, saves time, and seems like it would come up with a better result because now you can start focusing in the area. I don't know of any other system like this. When we talked to Dr. Kiki Wei in UCLA, he said he'd heard of a couple. Somebody I think in Taiwan's worked on something like this or something, but not many. This is the cutting edge. There aren't many guys like you that have scientific backgrounds that are trying to approach this traditional healing method, partly because that's been working for 1,000 years, and the people who believe in it and don't see the need to prove it or dissect it or figure it out any further than that. But more and more as we integrate this with East and West, Western medicine, Westerners want to see some data, want to see some proof, want to see some diagnosis, and keep saying, why can't we use things like AI and other sorts of things to observe the tongue faster, see what can't be seen with the human eye, or pick up these minute energy, sensor, electricity, whatever it is in your body here, and then analyze it and come up with some conclusions here. It all makes so much sense. Why did it take so long to get here, Dr. Chen? You must have been frustrated when you got into this because you're trying to heal yourself, and yet the scientist in you kept wanting to figure out, why is this working and how can I make it work faster and better here?
Yes, I combine my background, remote sensing technology when I was in the university, in Zhejiang University. And also after I found my software company, developed the software. And also when I was in the United States, I go to the Alhambra Medical University, start the Meridian, the traditional Chinese medicine. So I combine this three together, remote sensing technology, software, and the TCM together. Right now we're using the artificial intelligence to output this together to create efficient system to map out the blockage and the imbalance.
And you've been doing this for 10 years now. I know you spent a ton of money and a ton of time dialing this in. You've seen thousands of patients in your own clinic here in Anaheim Hills. What made you start licensing this to others or seeking out other ways to partner with people like Cassandra here? What drove you to say, I'm onto something, I don't want to just keep this to myself?
Yeah, in the United States, 6 out of 10 adults they're suffering from chronic condition.
Wow.
And 4 out of 10 is suffering 2 types of chronic condition. So millions of people, they cannot sleep, they're suffering cancer. So we need to help them. So we have that mission
and
to help millions.
And they can't all come to Anaheim Hills in your little facility there. So it's a way to reach out. You've got how many facilities at Cassandra? You've got one or multiple, and then you have this unique partnership with others that you collaborate with or help them, consult with them on how to build their practices. Talk about Cassandra Wellness Group a little bit here.
Yeah, we're approaching about 30 practitioners right now, primarily in the Houston area, but we are branching out, and Dr. Chen is one of the pilots for branching out to California. But I think we have, as I mentioned before, the American College of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine, which allows us to tap into a lot of major academic resources that an organization like ours don't necessarily have to start out with. So that allows us to actually, bring in investors and tap into a lot of different things that I think is.
And I got to ask you, because I studied Greek and Latin. I'm a good Irish Catholic. I studied Latin when I was in college, and then that led to some study of Greek. And as soon as Dr. Chen told me the name, he was saying, Cassandra, I don't know what the heck this means. I said, well, Cassandra is the Trojan princess. I had to look it up again here to remember. She was dedicated to the god Apollo, and the problem was she was fated by him to constantly utter the truth, but never to be believed. Cassandra is somebody who's always saying, oh, this is something bad's going to happen, or here's what's going to happen, and nobody ever believes him here. Is that why you picked this name? You're telling the truth and nobody believes it?
Yeah, historically people have always been skeptical of holistic approaches.
Right. And
every single time we can predict the future and what's going to happen to your health. And this is one reason why we came up with Cassandra Elements, which is an analytics tool that people can fill out on their own. And it'll spit out their weakest organ based on acupuncture theory.
Wow.
So, that's Cassandra at work, where we're telling you what you're weak at, what your organs are, and it's up to you to believe it or not.
All right. Well, another edition of East and West here. You're picking Western mythology. The Greeks started it all for us in Western civilization here. And you're picking up an element of that and playfully putting that into your practice here. I think it's an amazing thing. You guys are doing what? There's sort of a collaboration, a cooperation, a test to see, can your clinics benefit by using this Tomii Chi Analyzer system? And in reverse, Dr. Chen becomes kind of a pilot for you expanding out of the Houston area and becoming affiliated with your collection of holistic practitioners here?
Yeah, and like a lot of things that we do, they start in the academic level. So a lot of the interns at the American College of Acupuncture will have access to this machine to actually do their work and see how that works.
They like it, if it works, if they feel comfortable using it, if it helps them get to the root cause quicker and faster, as it has Dr. Chen and others here. And then as they go off and either work for others or open their own practices, maybe this is something they carry forward and do.
I think so. I think it's something, academically, it's research based, but once it works, you can branch out and offer it to all clinicians.
Well, we're out of time. I just wanted to tease this thing, and I hope you'll come back and we'll report along the way some data, some of the results, some of the, even if it's just anecdotal, here's what you're hearing, here's what you're seeing, people on the ground using this system. Dr. Chen's been a voice in the wilderness for too long here, saying, I think I got something. Eureka, as the Greeks said way back when. Eureka, I found something here. And now he's taken it to a Greek-named clinic called KASSANDRA Wellness, and all the people that you're teaching and associated with and helping. I think it's a fantastic idea. How do they find Cassandra if they want to learn more about what you're doing?
They can go to ChassandраWellness.com.
And you're spelling it the old Greek way with a K, not the C.
With a K, yeah. Yes, with a K. So yeah, ChassandраWellness.com, and they can explore, what we do and all the analytics, and fill out that free form if they want to, and figure out how their health is going.
There you go. And maybe even find a way, if you're in the Houston area or if you're out here in the greater LA area, come by and get a free chi analysis, and take another look at what the software is telling you is wrong in your body here. Where are the blockages in this mysterious meridian system here? I think it's fantastic. How do they find Tomii on the websites here, Dr. Chen?
TOMII.US 714-998-0128. We are located in the Anaheim, California.
Go check them out both. Lots of free tools to start using, opening your eye, lots of free information and lots of free tools to analyze from a different perspective, not a Western medicine perspective, but from an Eastern medicine, what is bothering you, particularly if you're suffering from those chronic, persistent conditions, pains, problems, things that you've been to your doctor, you've had a million tests, and they go, I don't know, here, take a pill. There's got to be a better way, and there has been for a long time. We're finally bringing the two sides together here in a more integrative approach. I think it's a fantastic thing. It's what my generation has been hungering for. We're tired of just pills and procedures. That's the last thing I want to do. First thing is I want to try health. I want to try exercise. I want to try diet. I want to try anything else that can utilize, and my body itself can help maintain its balance and can heal itself in whatever way it's capable of doing here. So thank you both for joining us here today on Tomii Wellness Show here, Health and Wellness Show. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Well, there you have it. Another edition of the Tomii Healing and Wellness Hour. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center, over Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.